We are in Psalm 66 today in the next devotional on Tell Them, and the title of this one is called Enemies. It says in Psalm 66:16, "Come and hear, all you who fear God. Let me tell you what He's done for me." So we're talking about telling them what to say, how to practically tell it when we're talking with the children in our lives. We're talking about how to make it natural and not contrived, life-giving and not dull and drab, and why it's so important to tell them. Well, verse 3 in Psalm 66 says his deeds are awesome and enemies cringe before him. So is there an enemy you've battled your entire life, one you've been afraid to bring out of the shadows and into the light? Many times we hold on to our stories out of fear that if we share, we'll be seen as weak or shameful for what we've done in our past. Obviously, we have to be wise with little ears, but maybe we were bullied in school as a kid and the enemy of fear kept us in the dark, and then Jesus set us free. Share that story with the kiddos and let them know that indeed enemies cringe at his name. Verse 6 says he turned the sea into dry land and people passed over on foot. This was a big deal and a big story in the Bible. And do your kids know about it? Do they know the full story of how God promised his people an amazing new land, but they had to cross a huge sea with an army chasing them? Enemies. It was totally impossible, but then God parted the waters and the people went across, and God closed the waters and drowned all their enemies. This is a huge Bible story. Maybe we haven't thought about our own stories in a while, ones that seemed impossible, and yet here we sit on the other side of our Red Sea, safe and sound. Share that story of how enemies drown when God is around. Verse 12 says that God let people ride over them and then went through fire and water. But then God brought them to abundance. So do the kids know about the story of the 3 guys in the fiery furnace and how there was a 4th one in there and how they came out of that horrible situation without even smelling like smoke? Tell them. Then tell them of your own fiery furnace where you thought sure doom was yours. For me, it was when we lost our home that we built that we were so proud of, and I recall thinking we might be destitute without a home and felt shame for years. But then the second part of the verse says that God brought these people into abundance. The terrible enemy that steals flees when God's provision rains down. So tell the kids how God came through and supplied your own needs. And in verse 20, it ends the chapter with the writer stating that God never withheld his love from him, and that's the truth that we need to share with the next generation. No matter if we caused our own demise, if we walked a path that led us into destruction, we listened to other voices, or whatever, his love held us firm and strong and kept us safe. Our kids need to hear of these awesome deeds on the pages of the Word and on the pages of our lives, because it will solidify their foundation, give them information about the one that loves them and cares for them against every enemy that dares to come against them. No enemy can win against his great love, and what better place to tell these stories than around the dinner table when our plates are full.